The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Pop in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Podcast coming to you April 11th, 2024 on a Thursday. How you guys doing? Solo episode here. Last night, of course, I did a long episode with my friend and colleague Ryan Miller of the 3CT podcast. Excuse me a second, I had to cough that out. That came out of nowhere. And that was a great podcast for the record. Hold on, let me fix the screen here again for the second time. There we go. And that was a long almost 2.5 hours, over 2 hours podcast for last night. I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna. I think we'll stay with this microphone for a couple of days. I'm burnt out, and then I realized I still got things things I have to kind of talk about here, and I want to get off my chest. That's probably requires a solo episode. And my schedule hasn't really allowed that, as much too. Like I said, I don't like. I try to avoid. Again, I know I could do it, but I try to avoid recording around the times my wife's home or my kids are home, because I want those times to be set for them. So it's only fair to them that they have me available most of the time, not all the time, as possible. So you balance the booking of having guests versus solo, and this is the last time of the week I'm gonna have that I'll be able to record. Right now for us until next week, to have time when no one's in the home. Right now my wife's at work and the kids are in school right now currently. So that's where we're at there. But I also got a couple things to get on my chest. Mainly because, man, I've just been really stressed out lately. And look, we all have our own stressors and things of that nature and whatnot. But I've been having a lot of car issues lately, and that thing's annoying as hell. So I got a 2010 Toyota Corolla, and I bought my car paid off. My wife and I we made a decision to we're going to keep our cars until we run to the ground. Like I as much as I have this itch, and I've spoken about it on the show before a few times, that much as I have the itch to buy a new car, and I can afford it to get a new car, or a newer car rather. I don't really want to. Like I'm at a point in my life now where I'm approaching mid-40s. I just want to enjoy life. I don't want anything's weighing me down. I just want to enjoy life, and I don't. It doesn't help when you have extra bills and extra things you have to commit to. And car payments, especially after COVID, you see prices of these cars now. Used cars are off the chain. They're just crazy. So we made a decision to ride or die with our cars we have now. We both paid them off. We paid them off a couple of years ago. We've been car payment free for about close to 3 years now. Really enjoy it. Love the fact I have extra money to put away. And I don't want to change that until I have to. And my car, has been really good to me. I've had this car now for 10 years. It's a 2010, but I've had it for 10 years. I had it when I was like, I think I had 13,000 miles when I got it at the time, and now it's down to 117,000 now, I think now, which is fine, but it drives great. Toyotas run for a long time, so why would I get rid of the car? But we have some issues as of late. Last week, I had a situation when my battery light came on, and then I took it to the mechanic last Wednesday, and he basically said that, because we thought it was the alternator. So we took it to my mechanic. Shout out to Harvey, of course, Harvey Stein. And we took it to the mechanic, and he said that we can't look at anything. Everything, the alternator is fine, seems to be fine. The batteries seem to be fine. It drives fine. It's just what it is. It might just be a little glitch, whatever. Fast forward to 3 days later, Saturday, driving from work. This is WrestleMania day, of course, too. And my light comes on again. It came a couple times, in the days before leading up to that. And then I get home, pick up my kids because I have to go do a Target. I did a Target order. My wife did a Target order, and I go pick it up for her. She had to go to work, unfortunately. So pick up the kids. About an hour later, went to Target with the kids to pick up stuff before WrestleMania started because I had company come over to the house, and we had a couple things I had to take care of before I did that to an errands run. And as I'm driving the car up the street, I don't get even a mile or two away from my house, going towards Target, where all of a sudden not only is my battery light on, then my brake lights out of nowhere comes on too. And then as that happens, about 10 seconds later, my car starts to stiffen up. So to the point where I can barely turn. So I made a decision to, you know what, let's go home to the kids. I have the kids with me. I don't want to be out stranded with my kids in the car with me. So I decided to make a U-turn, turn back home. Had a hard time. It was a little bit of a challenge. It drove fine, but it was turning the car, into different roads was a little bit of a challenge, but whatever. Got home, turned the car, turned on again. The car wouldn't start. So we said, you know what, screw it. Monday morning, we decided to take the car to Harvey again because he's closed Sunday, so whatever. We didn't touch the car, none of that. So Monday we took the car into our mechanic, and the car did start, which was good. So the other challenge was, okay, it started. Let's hope it stays on. Our mechanic's only 5-10 minutes away from the house. It's a straight shoot from our house to his place. We got there, not a problem. Left the car there. Got a phone call back. He says that, yeah, it is the alternator. Basically, the alternator was bad. They misdiagnosed it. It was bad. But of course, because the alternator was bad, the battery was good. But because the alternator was bad, it drained the battery. So I need a new alternator battery. So that wasn't $600 out the chute. Boom, done. Get the car back that same day. Later that day, I had to go to work late that day and leave work early also day to pick up my car. Get the car, pay the guy, gotta go home. I'm driving home. So I'm driving home from the mechanic, about a mile or two into the drive. My car starts to act weird. All of a sudden, the ABS light comes on. The brakes on the car are starting to stiffen, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. By the time I make the turn into my development, the car is barely accelerating. Now, granted, and thank God for this, the car did make it to my house. Okay. And then we thought, okay, we'll get to the mechanic again. And we were going to do that. We stopped the car, and the car starts, obviously, because the alternator and battery are fine. But the car will not even accelerate. The car basically the car was paralyzed. It wouldn't move. It wouldn't move even in neutral. It wouldn't move reverse, neutral, or forward. So we said, you know what, fine. We got to get a tow truck at some point. So we called a tow truck to come the next morning, which is Tuesday, 3 days ago. And they came early in the morning. They came about 7 o'clock in the morning, which is fine because I took the kids to school anyway, so it worked out really good. They took it to the mechanic. And basically, he said he doesn't know what the problem is. He checked the car. He's like, I don't understand. So he kept the car for a day, checked it again. He said it drove fine. They tried his guys tried it, it drove fine. And then late yesterday, well, I called him this morning. He said everything's fine. He said that a couple things we could done, we new bearings, this kind of thing, whatever. So basically, we put new hoses in there, X150, whatever. That's fine. This morning we called him because we would have pick up the car today. Because I also had to use rental. I had to end up getting a rental for 2 days. I need because of I don't really say need a rental, but there are 2 days in a week where my wife's schedule and my schedule gets a little bit convoluted. Where we kind of need 2 cars, because she works today, on Tuesday, for example. Tuesday she works double. I'm off. But I get the kids from school, so I need a vehicle to get them. Now I could walk there myself and get it, but I don't know. I have to talk to the school about how they'll allow me to pick them up by walking there. Whatever. That's a whole other conversation. But anyway, we got a rental for a couple of days, and I returned it today, of course. We got a rental. And anyway, so today the plan was to drop back off the rental today, get my car back today. We called mechanic this morning, and he said, no, we want to keep the car because I guess the thing that happened to you that happened to you on Monday, the stiffening of the car, the paralyzing of the car, happened to him fixing it. So now they're going to get down to the bones of the situation. He calls back about an hour later. It says that basically It's ABS situation, most likely. They got to find ABS parts somewhere in Georgia. It's going to come down here. It's another $700 most likely. Yeah, fine, fix it. And then so and well, it's a couple days. So basically, we're down to one car for the next couple days, which is fine because we can get it because our schedules for the next 5 days is doable. I don't need a vehicle. She drive me to work and pick me back up, and vice versa. And I don't need a car. I don't go out much anyway as it is. Everything I need is around my house. I have friends in mind. I have family I can call to move me around. I need to move stuff that's an emergency. If I need to take her to work and I use the car, whatever, so be it. So we're fine. I don't need 2 cars. I don't need 2 cars necessarily. Yes, it is a luxury, to be honest, in a lot of ways. But it's annoying because this whole thing is annoying, and again, there's a desire to buy a new car, a newer car, but at the same time, I don't want to have an extra $400 payments on my budget. I want to be able to enjoy life, go travel, this kind of thing, and do things with my family. So I'll have extra financials. And I know it sounds so silly. Well, you need a car. Yes and no. There are ways around that. My family, because we figured out we have a routine in our family, and I think routine helps the situation. It breaks down what you need, what parts you need help with. A car isn't necessarily something that it's really in a lot of ways. I hate to say that people can see that way. Well, that's crazy. It's kind of the second car for us is a luxury because I don't need one. I don't need one. And in fact, I told my wife that as we get older, the kids get older, they go to college and whatever, they become adults. If we go down this one vehicle and I'm done with it, I'll be fine with that. And then one of my bosses who's about to retire soon, him and his wife have for years made a concerted effort to, slimming down their finances and trimming down everything, right down to the fact that they have one car, and because their schedule works out great that way, it's doable. And I kind of want to get to that place too. Also, if I don't need it, I don't want it. That's my attitude. So, yeah. So, I mean, this whole thing's annoying in itself. But, I mean, both cars really need work, to be honest with you. But again, we're doing our best to. We made a decision to stick to just, having cars that are older now and just taking care of it. If you take care of it, it'll take care of you. And so I'd rather put another couple $100 in this car and not have payments than having to put $400, $500 a month on. Because that's what cars cost these days now. These cars are expensive as hell. Like a simple 4-cylinder car now is $20,000. That's what a simple Toyota 2017, 18 for $20,000 now. That's insane to me. I mean, that's not including interest, including fees and all the stuff you attack on. I don't want all that. I'm good. If I can avoid as much as possible, I'm gonna avoid that. I'll drive my old, used, but dependable. And for the record, this car's dependable because we've had this car for 10 years. It's given minimal problems, very little problems. This typical stuff you need to take care of. I remember we had an electrical thing happened with the car a couple years ago, but other than that, nothing else. We've been relatively good with the cars. So we're going to do the best we can to keep as long as we can. So that's where I'm at on that situation, with the car. But yeah, it's annoying as hell, Also, what's annoying as hell is because of all the stress going on with the anniversaries and all the birthdays. This last couple of days with my kids. My wife and I, we've really slowed down on our Sopranos marathon. We are on season 5. We're actually in the middle of season 5, but we have not completed. I was hoping to be done with the show by the start of this month, and we're not even close to being done. We still have season 5, and then season 6 is long. It's 21 episodes. So at this rate, we're probably not going to finish this season or the show. I'm scared to say this because the NBA playoffs start next week, and good luck getting my attention after next Tuesday. I think the first playing is on Wednesday. I think. Good luck getting my attention after that, because every night for at least the next month and a half, 2 months, is going to be dedicated to watching the NBA basketball and the NHL playoffs too. Also, so we're going to try our best to get as much done. My goal is if we can get done season 5 this weekend, get in 4 episodes tonight, getting another couple of episodes on tomorrow night, and then a couple more on Saturday, and even some more on Sunday. We have the next 5 days ahead of us where we can probably get a chunk of episodes out, but it's going to require us really, really get dedicating time to that. And on my personal time, of course, I've been doing WrestleMania, watching every WrestleMania in order, from start to finish. WrestleMania, I haven't. So we just finished the 40th WrestleMania this past weekend. I've not watched WrestleManias 20 through 29, and then 31 through 35 in full. Like, I've seen matches from those ones I missed in full, but I've never actually watched those in its entirety. The other ones I watched in entirety, of course. So I'm actually watching all the WrestleManias in order. Right now, I'm number 10 right now currently. Which we actually did a couple watch-alongs on that on my wrestling podcast. We could get a chance to check it out. Wrestling retrospective podcast. And so I'm doing that on my time. That's when I have my time to do my own thing. So when I'm not doing podcasts or not doing other things on the house, I'm doing that. So, but yeah, The Sopranos, I want to get this done as soon as possible so I can get to other shows that I'm behind on. I already said earlier in the year that one of my goals this year is to all the shows that I started through the years that I never finished: Boardwalk Empire, Veep, The Wire. There's a chunk more, Californication, Ray Donovan. It's like a chunk of the shows that I started years ago that I've not finished yet. I want to get to being done with those this year, but it requires me being also consistent. And this last week because of the birthdays and going out and stuff and doing other things and work schedules has been really tough. So that's that. Speaking of NBA playoffs, we're about a week away from the playoffs. I know the play-in starts, I believe, next Tuesday. We have 4 more days as this recording. 4 more days of the regular season. We're in the final days of the NBA regular season. It's been a fascinating one, of course. If you look at the standings here, I have it on the screen here. Watch on the YouTube page, guys. Here's the standings right now. Go to East first, 1 through 6. It feels like 1 through 6 is set. I'm gonna say for the record, as a Heat fan, the number 8, the 2 back of the 6th spot. I don't think they can catch that 6th spot anymore. They had a chance to make ground with Indiana and Philadelphia last week. They lost both of those games. They screwed themselves, and they better be Philadelphia in the playing game, or who they're playing in the playing game. They better beat one of those teams in the playing game, or else even if they win the second playing game, they're going to end up drawing Boston in the first round. And while I know Miami and Boston, this and that, this Boston team is much better than this team last year they beat. So let's start there. But 1 through 6 seem to be relatively locked in for the most part. Milwaukee's up in the Knicks. Now Knicks are 3 seed. Milwaukee just lost Giannis for the rest of the regular season. Scary situation there. You heard his calf. Thank God for that, because if they said his Achilles would have been torn. But yeah, you still have to get a little race there between 3 and 3 and I guess 6 in there too. The game and a half apart between between New York and Indiana. There's a little bit of race there. And then of course the race for to get out of the playing spot. Philadelphia now is red hot. They won 6 in a row. Joel Embiid's back. Again, Miami screwed themselves. So that's the situation there. We're going to watch those races in the final weekend of the regular season. Western Conference, obviously Denver number 1 in the West with a win last night against Minnesota. Minnesota at 2. Minnesota and OKC at 2 and 3 are tied for number 2 right now in the West. You got the Clippers at 4. Basically, what's confirmed is that Dallas and the Mavericks and Clippers only meet in the first round. Mavericks are red hot now. They're red hot. 1-5 in a row, 9 last 10. Luka and Kyrie's playing out of this world right now. That is the dark horse of the Western Conference right now, in my opinion. The Pelicans at 6, but barely by half game over Phoenix with 7. 8 through 10 is pretty much locked in for the play-in, pretty much. Well, the Kings, Lakers, and the Warriors. It looks like the Warriors and Lakers are going to be playing in that first play-in game next week. It'll be a fascinating situation in the NBA and how that plays out. But yeah, what 4 days away from the playoffs. It's gonna be a fascinating situation moving forward. And I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I haven't been, because of WrestleMania and you've seen a lot of content on this podcast, a lot of wrestling talk on here. I get it. A lot of people listen to the podcast not really into wrestling. That's fine. That only happened because of the nature of the time, and that's gonna obviously end now that WrestleMania is coming on. Yeah, well, obviously as next week comes around, you have the Masters this weekend. I think Masters starts today. Actually, I'm actually interested this for the Masters. I'm not a really big golf guy, But I'm actually interested in the Masters this year. So I'm going to be watching that a little bit this weekend. We'll see how if that, how that, if I keep enough interest. Like I said, I watched very little of the March Madness in NCAA tournament, both men's and women's. I saw the women's final game outdrew the men's game. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've been locked up. I've been a little world lately, and of course all the stress I'm doing right now with the cars and other family things I'm dealing with. Of course, birthdays, anniversaries, friends and family gatherings, all that good stuff. All right, one last thing to get out of here. One last thing. Some breaking news from hours ago. News I didn't think came out of nowhere. OJ Simpson, Hall of Fame running back, accused murderer, not convicted. He didn't get convicted of the murder, but was accused. Passed away yesterday at age 74. That is news I did not see come down the pike. He's someone that has been active on social media, and from what I've seen of him on social media, he didn't look sick. He didn't look like he was. He didn't say anything about him being sick and all that. But yeah, he passed away yesterday, age 74. OJ Simpson's a very polarizing figure, obviously. Like I said, the big murder trial of 1995. I watched the entire thing as a kid. I was about 14, turned 15. I remember where I was the day he was getting arrested. The chase, of course, of the white Bronco. I was watching Game 5 of the 1994 NBA Finals, Knicks and Rockets, and watching that. And you have that, the game going on while in the corner you have the LAPD and the news media following the Bronco. A lot of people say that whole saga between the chase and the trial is what launched cable TV into what we have today. Not good or bad. Mostly bad in my opinion, but that's my opinion. OJ Simpson, like I said, there's a lot of people, most people believe he did it, murdered Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson, including me. Evidence matters. What that saga also exposed too also is that even though I do believe he did what he did, it also exposed the disastrous and the toxic nature of not police, but certain police folks who were, most notably Mark Furman, planting evidence and all this stuff. We didn't even need to. Very, obviously you read the comments on social media. Most of them are negative. Rest in piss, and hope you got what you deserve. Hope you suffered. And I feel not torn about this because I do believe he did what he did. If he actually did do that, like we don't know 100% for sure. All I feel like he did. I really hope he came to terms with his maker, came to terms with God with this. Because I can't imagine, going through life knowing you did what you did and then just being able to do what you want to do. And then, okay, good, I'm gone. It's a weird thing. It's really weird because even for a guy like him, I have a hard time this being that negative. Like it's weird. Like this is when my faith comes into play. Forgiveness and never forgetting and all this good all this stuff. I get it. Folks who are pissed at him still, who thinks he did it, have a right to feel the way they feel. In my opinion, you took 2 lives. 2 lives that were young. You have kids, you have children without a mother. Very polarizing situation though, and like it's strange, man. It's strange how life works. I believe also too in OJ's case, because there was, in addition to him being accused of murder, he also had a history of domestic violence with the same woman as well too. And I firmly believe that he had CTE. Remember, this is also a Hall of Fame running back. Stage one about his off-field exploits, he's one of the 5 best running backs in history of football. It's not in the conversation. Maybe top 10, but definitely top 10. Certainly conversation for 5. I think he had CTE, and again, this is not even an excuse to say that, oh well, he has CTE. He did no. I'm just saying that we didn't address CTE and concussions and all that stuff until much later, way past this time, even past when the murders happened. And I'm convinced he had a lot of blows, especially in the running back position too. You know, a lot of blows to his head and all this stuff. And I think I honestly believe that CT may play a large part in him having those issues too as well. All you can do really is pray for his family, people who do, because people who do care about him still, regardless of how we feel about OJ Simpson. You know, kids, you know, grandkids, I think. And you can only pray that they're at peace with this. Do I pray OJ's at peace? Yeah, I hope he does. While also acknowledging that he probably did what he did. And the reason why I say that is because the evidence, you know, says as such. Now, and I'm a facts over feelings guy. You know that. But it's definitely a very sombering day in a sense too. Not I don't want to go forward and say it's sad, because I can understand him getting his just due for something that we believe he did. But it's just sombering, you know. So rest in peace, OJ Simpson. What I can say about that. And we'll leave it there on the podcast. Again, dated April 11th, 2024. I am on Twitter /X at EJ Christian 7. Also, my YouTube page at youtube.com/Earnest Christian. You can also watch this episode too as well on the YouTube page. Other than that, I think that's it. They cleared up half for the week. We will see you guys next week, I guess. So, talk to you guys later. Love y'all. Take care. See ya.